So you want to make bacon. This is how we're going to start. You're going to need pork belly. You're also going to need some parchment paper, a Ziploc bag or a vacuum seal bag. You're going to need brown sugar. You're also going to need salt, regular salt, pepper, thyme. You can also use liquid smoke, which I'm actually going to use because I won't be smoking this on the grill. So I'm going to use liquid smoke. You can also add optionally like crushed red pepper or coriander. I might add coriander. I'll think about that while I'm working. And you're also going to need curing salt, which is also known as pink salt #1. Okay. You will need also a bowl and a scale because there is going to be some math involved. I hate to say it, but there's going to be math. Okay, guys? Well, you heard of chicken math. Now we have to do bacon math. You have to weigh your pork belly in grams. Mine is 2,300 grams. Your ratios are going to be salt 2.5%, brown sugar 1.5%, and curing salt, also known as pink salt #1, 0.25%. You're going to take those and you're going to multiply it. I don't know how to multiply decimals. I did it for you. And then you're going to come up with the amount of grams you're going to use for your curing brine. So now that we have the numbers, we can start weighing it out. Okay? Now, I have my scale here, set to grams, and we're ready to go. So 34.5 grams. I'm just going to use 35. Ooh, I was almost right on the money. Oh, there we go. 35. Look at me. Salt, I need about 57.5 grams. I'd rather go a little over than under, so I'm going to make it a 58. And it's just regular salt, guys. All right, there we go. And curing salt is only 5 grams, so nice and easy. It was 5.75, so 6. Perfect. Just a little bit. Like I use this, like a little bit over this, right? Now I'm gonna add black pepper. I'm not gonna measure. I'm just gonna sprinkle some in there to my heart's content, okay? And a little bit of thyme. Voila, voila. I'm going to mix it really well. Get all the brown sugar and salt mixed together. And then I'm going to add the liquid smoke, okay? I'm going to add liquid smoke, about 2 tablespoons. Now, if you were not doing liquid smoke, you do not have to, you just stir it all together and it's gonna be like a dry rub. But since I added liquid smoke, it's gonna be more of like a wet brine instead of a dry rub. But you can eliminate the liquid smoke and just mix it all up and move to the next step. Now I have a skin on pork belly. See, nice layer of skin right here. And I'm gonna keep the skin on, okay? I liked it the last time. The kids liked it, so we're just gonna go with that. Now, I need you to clean your meat, okay? However, whatever that means to you. Whatever that means to you, okay? Now, after it's rinsed off, you can pat it dry. For some reason, I don't have any paper towels. So I'm gonna use this clean kitchen towel. And I'm gonna pat it dry on all sides. Flip it over. And we're just using the parchment paper because we need a space to work with this, either dry rub or wet rub, whichever one you got. Now, see? Bing, bang, boom. If you have a dry rub, this is where you can rub it in on all sides. all sides, right? But me, I have a wet rub, so I'm gonna use my vacuum seal bag. It's already sealed on one side. I'm gonna slide the pork belly in there, and I'm going to pour the brine in there, okay? Again, parchment paper. If you have dry rub it all over, and then stick it in a Ziploc bag that fits, or a vacuum seal bag. I'm gonna fold down my bag a little bit because I want to not get it on the very top where I have to seal it. We all know how vacuum sealers do. Okay, and I'm just gonna pour this in, and then I'm gonna move it around to make sure we get it on all sides. My wet brine is in the bag, so I'm just going to seal it so that I can move the brine around. So now that the bag is sealed, I can just move the brine all around in it and make sure it gets everywhere. I did take some of the air out, but not a lot. And as it sits in the fridge, the brown sugar will melt in it a lot more, and your brine will move around a whole lot more. But I'm just going to massage that in until the brine gets all over the rest of the meat. So I had sealed the bag so I can toss it all around and flap it and move the meat around and get everything worked in. So now it's brine covered with the curing brine on all sides. Now this will go in the fridge. They say about 7 days per inch of thickness. So we'll look at 7 days for this. Now, you want to put it in the fridge, and every 18 to 24 hours, you want to flip it. So I'm going to put it in the fridge like this, 18 to 24 hours. I'm going to flip it, let the juices fall, another 18, 24. We're going to do that for 7 days, okay? Now that we get that part down, in 7 days, we'll do the rest. You should have been flipping your bacon over and over and over for 7 days. For this part, you're going to need a rack and a pan, and also a meat thermometer. That's my old one. I didn't like it. I got this new one from Inkbird, and let me tell you something. It is awesome. It's my first time using it officially, and I am hooked, okay? Because this meat thermometer doesn't even lose signal, and it comes with the app. I didn't have to get out my bed to check the temperature of the meat, okay? It has pre-programmed settings for meat, so you don't have to guess at what temperature you need it, and you can also make your own. I did a custom one for this bacon. I put it at 160, but I had to switch it later because I forgot it's not 160, it's 145 for the internal temperature. But this thing is awesome, so it will be used heavily this summer, especially on the grill. So at this point, we're going to open it, and we are going to rinse it off. I need you to rinse it off really, really well. Some of your spices may stick to the fat. It's fine. It's not going to, as long as it's not like saturated all over, but a little bit is fine. It still has the skin on, and after it's out the oven, I'm going to show you how you can take it off. So we're going to place this in the oven. I'm using the oven method. We're going to place it in the oven on 225 degrees for as long as it takes, okay, until it gets to 145 on the inside. If you're smoking on the grill, you can do it at 225 for as long as it takes as well, which is usually about 2.5 hours on the grill, 3.5 maybe in the oven. If you're using a wireless thermometer like me, you're going to go ahead and stick the probe in, and we're going to put it in the oven. If you're using a regular thermometer, you're just going to have to check on it periodically. So right now my internal temperature is 82 degrees. I need to get it to 145. Again, I had to change that from 160 to 145. And we're just going to sit and wait for it to be done. The app told me it reached my internal temperature of 145. And so now it's time to take it out. So once you take it out, it's going to look really pretty. You're going to want to taste it or whatever. Don't do that. Now, you can easily use a knife and cut it, but it also peels super easy if you have a thin layer of skin. It's a little hot, okay? I was like, oh wait, I need to use something else. But as you can see, it pulls away pretty darn easy once you start around one of the corners. If you're not comfortable trying to pull it, you can also use a knife. I'm just gonna pull it, okay? I had to get a towel because, like I said, it was a little hot. So I just pulled it right on off. Easy peasy. But this is why you don't have to try to take the skin off before you smoke it or put it in the oven, because it's going to just peel right off. And now this is going to be a treat for my dog. Nothing lost. So now we're just going to wrap this up in either foil or saran wrap or whatever you have laying around, and we're going to put it in the oven. In the refrigerator for 24 hours. You can probably pull it at maybe 20, but 20 to 24 hours to let it cool, and then we'll be able to slice it. After it cools, it is going to have some fat on it now. Now you can just take a little knife or something and just scrape it off. Put it in a little jar if you want to. Use it to cook with, whatever. It's just a little pork fat, little bacon fat. So you can just go on all sides and try to get that off. If you don't have a slicer, you can actually just use a knife and just be careful on how you slice it, how thin or thick. But I have a slicer, so I'm actually going to use my slicer to complete this part of the process. Choosing the thickness I want, and would you look at that? Looks better than store-bought. This is kind of like a thin, thick piece. It's not super thick and it's not super thin. It's like the perfect texture for frying. Thickness, not texture, whatever. But here you are. So you just slice it up, and you can store it however you like to store it. I like to cut mine up and put some in the fridge and then vacuum seal the rest for the freezer. It can last a couple weeks in the fridge, so that's why I prefer to freeze it, because this is like almost 5 pounds of bacon, and I don't need that in the fridge. At this thickness, I think half a pound is about 10 slices. So I usually do about 10 per pack, and just lay it in parchment paper, and then I vacuum seal it. That's the easiest way for me to store it. You can store it however you like, but now you've made bacon. This process is very simple to complete, and once you get it down packed, you can play around with flavors, different spices, different smokes, grilling, not grilling. It's all up to you. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like it, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and go ahead and share it so we can all learn how to make bacon.